Hello, everyone. This is Eric Gomer with blog post number 3, talking about which of the 9 different methods to make assessment more creative I would go with. Um, Usually, I would pick number 5, which is compare and contrast, simply because the way I personally like to learn is not with any sort of creative way. It's just here's my notes. I'm going to rewrite them. I'm going to lay them out, make some charts and stuff. And you could say that is kind of creative because it involves visualizing them, but I don't really like to go further than that. That's just how I think learning best works, at least for me. But I'm not everybody, of course. And in the interest of keeping the class interesting and engaging for my students, the method I would really pick for the purpose of this discussion is number 1, 1, 2, 3 action. Or like making a movie or video based on the content to review it or even assess students. There's a few reasons I would do this. The first is that I think this is the one with the most potential to give a solid overview of the content, because my concern with the other assessment methods like Living Museum, for instance, is that I don't think you could properly cover an entire unit just with that. I really don't. Like with Living Museum, you have to essentially play the part of one of like a historical figure, for instance. But if you're only doing that, you're not necessarily getting the other ones. Sure, you could go and hear the different students' presentation who all have the different perspectives or aspects of a unit. But if you yourself are only really preparing one, you're going to know that one a lot better than the others. So I don't think that helps that much. Which is why I think making a movie is the best option, because if you get all the students to help work on this in some way, sure, they might do one part over the other, but if the movie itself is focused on general content, I think that would be a huge help, and that would not waste time or undermine the purpose. And I mean, the others are good ideas, but I just personally don't think they would work as well. Also, I'm into video production as it is. I've mentioned I'm in a video production club. I'm actually the president at the moment. And it's always just been a fun hobby of mine, so this might be a cool way to introduce my students to the processes of writing a script, filming with a camera, editing with a computer. I mean, that's a great way to put technology into this too. Integrate technology into my instruction, and I mean, maybe they'll just like it and want to go on to do it themselves. And the only other real holdup I have with making a movie is that I don't believe it could work with any subject in order to serve as effective review, which would be the purpose of it. So it needs to be an overview of all of the concepts, a part of a particular unit or learning block. So if it just focuses on a small or niche part of the unit, like many educational videos do, then I don't think there's really much point in making it. For this reason, I think the best the best subjects to make videos out of would be English language arts and social studies. And I think there's the most room for creativity here, while also giving a general overview of the content. The material can be general enough to be adapted and explained in different ways, unlike something more concrete like math or science, because I can't really imagine anyone making a video about like how to do algebra, for instance. I mean, the only thing I can think of is just filming themselves talking about how to do algebra, but at that point you're not even making a video. Like, that's too concrete. Unlike ELA, for instance, I'll give an example of what I was thinking. So say a class, or say like my future class, we read a certain novel as a class. Well, we could easily make a sort of video book report on that. And creative ways we could do that are we could reenact scenes from the book, or we could make like a sort of pseudo documentary and interview characters from the book, talk about the events. There's a lot of ways to do that, but in doing that, you still get an overview of the whole book while also leaving room to be flexible and be creative. Or another example could be like a historic event. If you want to cover a certain time in history, you can make a documentary on that too. Some students can pretend to be certain characters, whoever wants to be actors, and or not characters, historical figures, I mean. And you can interview them, and then say there's some like B-roll we need if we want to do a whole documentary going over like a summary of, say, the Revolutionary War. well, we could always use like, this is another way to integrate technology. We could always use like a 3D animation program or something to do something simple like that for B-roll. So there's a lot of potential with this, and I think it would be really fun while also serving the purpose it's intended to. And I think it does that better than all of the other options. So in conclusion, as long as there's a clear plan and direction for the video, I think it would be a great way to review the material and show off students' understanding. Thank you.